Good morning, Resurgence. Welcome back as you've gathered your family and friends to a surge upon greatness. This is episode 22. Oh, 22. We at 22, y'all. We have a special episode today. We're so glad to be back. And I want people to realize that we do actually care about all of our people that email us and send us questions. We appreciate the love. Keep sending us emails and calls. But remember to call the show number, not my personal cell number. For those who are not listening to that information, they keep calling my direct cell for show questions. But if you call the show at 313-312-0398.
People still gonna call his phone though, because no one listens.
But that's listens, it is what it is. We're resurging. A couple of announcements to get going here before we bring our very special guest out today. I'm so excited for this brother to be here. I've seen him do some phenomenal things, and I'm so excited for this next chapter in his life. But before we get to that, we got to pay the bills. I want to give a special shout out to King Chosen, who has a brand new album coming out on Mo Thug Records, our homeboy and our Outlaw brothers. Shout out to the entire Outlaw crew, the entire Graceland crew. And yesterday for me was a very special day because I don't know if y'all saw the ice storm that happened outside because it was like well below 0 degrees, because at 3:28 in the morning on March 15th, I became a member of Z Chapter, Mighty Z Chapter in the Bloody Triangle in Ohio. Please believe me. That's why I have on my nail here today. I got the 3 on the back because we know that, Rodney is making faces. Rodney's making faces.
I'm trying not to look at him.
It's
hilarious. Yes. What year was that?
That was just a few years ago, bro. Not many. Not many.
Yeah.
Probably about 10 years ago.
Because I was sleeping around 3:28 in the morning yesterday, but I made sure I looked outside because I had a feeling it was going to be very cold. I did. I made sure I hit him up and let him know. I was watching the weather. It was cool.
I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Mighty Z Chapter. Shout out 3 The Hard Way, my line. Also, my Sans, still my ace. He has his show, him and his partner. They have their show. It's called Thought Ops. Check out Thought Ops, and they're based out of Cleveland, Ohio. Sans, what up? I told you I was shouting you out today. We talked on the phone earlier. So my Sans is coming back to the stage, bringing his comedy back to the stage in Cleveland, Ohio this upcoming weekend. Still is him on the phone's hilarious. On stage is crazy.
I'm not going to go into the history of how I met Brother Glaive, but I will say that, hands down, one of the funniest dudes I know. He is out of his mind, bro. Yeah.
Also, our brother, Keon Furnace. Don't forget to go out and get your copy of Love in the Multiverse. Love Multiverse. Go get your copy of this book today by Keon Furnace. Check it out. We need that. He'll be on the show coming soon this summer. Today is a special show. I have had the pleasure of, when I graduated from Wilberforce, just a few years ago, I had the distinct pleasure to come home and bond with brothers at the Gold Chapter at Wayne State University. And in that bonding, there were individuals who were seeking their way to the pyramid and to enter the Sphinx. And I was able to help out with that road and that process to the Sphinx. And this one particular young man is here today. And I'm so proud of all of his accomplishments. And he's going to come out today on the Resurgence. Okay, so Rodney and Bruce.
I'm not doing a single thing, bro.
When I graduated Wilberforce a few years ago, I came home at Wayne State University. Shout out to the Gold Chapter. Hey, shout out to the Gold Chapter. I was able to bond with my brothers here and help a group of young men enter into the Sphinx. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, it was a moment. You know what I'm saying? And I was proud of them then. I'm proud of them now. So they'll understand, because they're going to try to say that this was just a few years ago. But I was super proud of them then. I'm even more proud of them now. Coming to the stage, other. You have seen him on Fox 2 News. You've seen him all over the city, and you already know who he is. Coming to the stage, my brother, John Barlow. Let's give him a hand, people coming out. There he is. There he is. What's good, bro? Let's go. Welcome to the Resurgence. What's happening, man? Come on, let's.
Pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all mine.
Did you hear like? For some, now you know my 30th birthday is coming up in like maybe 2 weeks. So whenever I try to explain to them about something that happened, they always trying to figure out how old was I when that happened. Because I turned 30 on April 4th. We all know that. But someone else has a birthday coming up this coming Thursday.
I won't be 30. My birthday. No, not at all. Not at all. It's gonna be much older than 30, actually.
Really?
Yeah, we don't need to go into it for now because it's not about me.
Right.
Let's move on.
Okay. No, that's some good stuff. That's some good stuff. Well, happy early birthday to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Whether you're turning 21, 18, or whether you're seasoned.
Yeah, that part.
It's definitely a blessing either way, because a lot of us have not been able to make it this far. We've had friends that don't get this far, and so when you're in good health, when you're in good spirits, you can call on somebody and call family. It's definitely a blessing. So just thank you for having me, and again, happy early birthday, because I can only imagine how much celebration you might have.
So he's heard the stories.
Yeah.
Before we started filming, we went through several stories of birthday shenanigans. So you know it's about to be a time that's happening soon.
Yeah, we don't need to go into that.
Yeah, it's going to be a time.
Real quick, though, shout out to the Michigan Wolverines, who are currently in the Big Ten Championship, facing off against Wisconsin. I'm not sure the score just yet. It's time. And just a little bit, I'm mad because the Michigan State Spartans would have actually been in the Big Ten Championship as well had they beaten Wisconsin. Michigan versus Michigan State in the Big Ten. That's what I want all the time. Every year, fellas, make it happen. But shout out to the Wolverines. Get it done, fellas.
Get it done. Get it done. Okay. That's what's up. So I'm glad to have you here. Now, you know it was my anniversary yesterday, but you didn't show up with a pizza. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
you're just gonna open.
It was open with that, like, there was no pizza, there was no greeting when you came in. I don't know.
I totally apologize. I believe that you're supposed to give flowers and give honor while you're still around. So
thank you.
I did have a slip up. This is a busy season for me, but I do owe you something next time we're out and about. So happy anniversary, along with all the happy birthdays.
Hey, the hard way. Come on, man.
Most definitely. And this is probably what your is this not a hallmark year for you?
This is like maybe the 10th.
Okay, nobody's counting. But
I mean, maybe outside this room,
right?
I because you told them that you brought me into the frat. I can't share any of my years. we can't try to pull one over your guest head. But no, it's much love. I'll put you like this: out of all the people that I've ever come across, you could tell me that you're 21, and I would believe it because of so much energy that you bring to life.
I appreciate that.
Vito, you probably bring some of the most energy that anybody can ever bring to any scenario, any situation. And I think that comes out to your viewers. I think that comes out in your work. Of course, I've seen you in a number of different capacities over the years, but there's nothing wrong with your age if it's not coming out in your behavior.
You see? You see?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that, bro. That means a lot to me, man.
I got a few people tapping in.
But yeah, people, they gonna go crazy out here, man. It goes crazy. The comments be wild. It's just a lot.
All right.
Our last show, we had a lot of emails. We got some concerns because people.
Is he ready for them?
Yeah, people got some emails, and that's just crazy. We got people got questions. We got to ask you. We got emails that are so unrelated, but we might need you to chime in on that too.
To happen.
That's got to happen, bro.
Yeah.
Just to get things started, man. Like a lot's going on for you in this season. This is a huge season for you. Huge. Oh my God. But where do we begin? Where do you want to kick off? What's like your inspiration? What like drives you right now in this current season that you're in?
I've always been about leveling the playing field, and that goes for everybody. And I think that starts with the relationship building that I've always participated in. And I think that stems from sports. Coming up in Detroit public schools, playing basketball, both in middle and high school, there was always team building. Man, it was team building with pick 'em up, mess 'em up on the schoolyard. Even though it was an individual sport, there was always some camaraderie and pick 'em up, mess 'em up. And so I just think that the season that I'm in is making sure that our generation builds team and positions their team in such a way that they can become more successful. I think a lot of times people get isolated nowadays or kind of go into a corner and kind of put some distance between them and society. And I truly believe that's only because they haven't found the right team.
Right.
And sometimes family isn't your team. And ultimately and consequently, sometimes team isn't your family. And so you just have to be able to balance relationships. And that's the season I'm in now, is to make sure that I'm balancing relationships to put my best foot forward, to making impact, not only for myself, but for the citizens of Detroit. For a long time, I've been traveling.
Definitely.
To make, yeah, well,
brother is everywhere.
I try my best to travel to, because I didn't leave Detroit much until the age of 35. Okay. Right before COVID, is when I really started to travel.
Right.
Because I felt like the world was, God kind of pushed me out to do more traveling at the time. And so, to make a long story short, getting those type of relationships, seeing the world, it really said, listen, there's some teams that can be built back home in Detroit. Stop traveling so much, sit still, be at home, and try to make more impact back home before you continue to make impact across the world.
Okay. That's good. I think that team building is huge. And that's what, like you say, with anything, you know what they say, you're only strong as your weakest link.
Yeah.
So if you got a solid team behind you, know what I'm saying? I mean, ain't sky's the limit. Anything can happen. Speaking of like team building, that works on community. So what do you think we can do so that everybody's voice in the community is heard when it comes to decision making? Because obviously it's not one person that makes decisions, it's a team.
Yeah.
So what do you think like we can do to get the full community input, if you'll say, when it comes to like decision making for our city for the greater good?
Yeah. My saying right now is, we don't win unless we all pitch in. Engagement is at an all-time low. You have less than 20% of Detroiters that vote in every election.
Yikes.
It's more so close to the 10 or 15% range. That means that every time I come out here, I go to Coney Island, it could be 10 people in there, including the staff, and only one of them are going to vote.
That's insane.
And it's probably me. And so it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to start talking about what we need to fix without fixing the core problems and the core issues. And so when you talk about what it is, because I don't want to not answer your question directly, but I did want to at least mention that in order for transparency to take place and people to feel that they need to engage, there has to become a more participatory democracy. And what does that mean? It means that people have to feel like they're owners of what they're participating in. They have to feel like their voice matters. And so we haven't, in our community, the African American community, and probably many others, have not felt that their voice is valued, normally because we're not doing our math. We're not doing the math properly to say this is how many of us really need to vote in order for us to become successful. And so when we don't know the math, we're setting ourselves up for failure because we're just rolling the dice off of a cliff. We don't know what's going to happen. We got to take everybody's word for it. So information sharing and information sourcing is a very critical part to participatory democracy, because that means that people are taking it upon themselves. They're becoming responsible at engaging and finding out what is really going on in society, in their community, and with the government that's supposed to be serving them. So transparency, and that allows for the engagement to take place, but it all begins with how are our leaders engaging us to make sure that we know that they have our best interests as well. Because a lot of times we go to churches, we go to our fraternities and sororities, and we allow them to go speak for us on our behalf, but then we don't question them. We don't ask them, what did they come back with? We sit there like, did you have a good time? Was the dinner good? Forget the dinner.
Right.
Did you come back with what I asked you for? And so that's normally where we drop the ball. We drop the ball. We got to stop pointing the finger at the Capitol, the White House, the state Lansing, or even the mayor's office. We got to take responsibility and say, listen, did we know what we were up against? Did we even try to fight? Or did we try to have our voice heard? And then what was the outcome? And it was probably based off of the plan and everything that we tried to execute.
You just answered my question too, is what would be the reason for why they don't go out and vote? But I think you really just answered in that everything you just said. So I guess the question would be, how do you get these people engaged? You go to them and you find out what issues are relative to them, and you try to bring them in and convince them that their voice does matter and that they absolutely should vote.
It's two-part. I'll give you a story that ran across not too many days ago at a supermarket. I had a mom who had a University of Michigan sweatshirt on. So we can already say she's educated, right?
Right.
After trying to get her to sign my petition for the first 30 seconds after a few exchanges, I said, you know what? Don't sign my petition because I see that you're disappointed in the process. You need somebody to listen to you first. Again, I don't need you to sign my petition. Stop looking at my petition. Look at me. Let me talk to you. By the time I got done talking to her, she's so disappointed in the election process. She doesn't feel like her vote is valued. Her vote is valued. And her voice is valued. This is someone who went to one of the best schools in the world. How is it that society can train her and put her in almost a mental handcuff that she doesn't feel that she can engage properly? Now, get this. Her daughter goes to my alma mater, Renaissance. So not only did you go to U of M, your apathy is now about to transfer potentially over to one of the brightest minds we got coming up. How in the world can we survive as a community if that's an exponential chain reaction and generational passing down?
Wow.
And so what after talking to her for a number of minutes, it became very apparent that she's not even getting support, the type of support that she really needs for her to be able to operate and support her child like she really needs. Now, I won't go into details about the story she shared or anything like that or what's transpiring. And I don't want to point any fingers because that's not how I handle things. I'm going to go to the source and find out what I can do to hopefully mitigate or help support the system. But what I will say is this: when I came up, we were empowered. We were empowered to have our voice heard, but be respectful of the generation before us. So we could say our piece, but we better have something meaningful to say when we get ready to say it. Now, what's happening now is, and it started to happen, and I saw it when I was coming through high school into college, and then when I tried to, and I still feel it, and you'll understand why maybe later on when we talk about leadership. But in her environments that she's trying to get support in, the young lady, she's making her concerns and her needs known, but they're being dismissed. The leaders that should support her aren't acknowledging her needs and her issues, and they're saying we already do that.
They going kind of over.
They're looking past it. Yeah, and she's only in this position because of something that she experienced while under their care. So I say all that to say this: if leaders don't pay attention to what the need is, and then go talk to the other leader where it's transpiring at, then who's really accountable? Us as a community, because the village isn't coming in to really deal with the matter and the issue and find resolve. We're not attacking the problem together. If we're not pitching in, if everybody's not pitching in, we don't win.
But the village is like in disarray, which we can see on several different levels. We'll be here all night if we start naming all of them. Yeah. That's huge because when it comes to community, because I think they work with politics hand in hand. And a lot of times we might be looking for a savior as far as a political savior. And like they say, ain't nobody coming, it's on us. So the community actually is more powerful than what they realize.
But I think he also said this too, because you've been stressing this for a while, that a lot of people don't vote in the local elections.
That part.
And they don't realize the power that has when you vote in your local and state elections as opposed to the only election people care about, which is the presidential election. So I think what you just said actually convinced me. If you are dealing with if you listen to the individual stories and you listen to them to a point where you realize these are needs that have to be met. This one woman represents a percentage of women that all feel this same way. Right. So let's tackle this particular issue, see what we can do to get this done. So I'm sold. I'm sorry. That right part that just sold me right there.
I go a step further. No, I want you to go into your question because I can throw this point. I can throw this point in later. I'd rather you ask your question because you said we ain't gonna get to all the whole 20.
We gonna get to the whole thing.
Yeah.
We got a lot.
I always want you to get everything out, so I can fill in as we go. I don't have to add any point.
What sets you apart from other leaders in the city? And you can focus this past or present, however you choose to answer it. What makes you unique as far as other leaders in the city coming up? What's your special, what is it, je ne sais quoi?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
saying? I normally ask other people, I believe everybody has a superpower.
True.
I believe everybody has a superpower.
I know a lot about that.
I believe our youth have superpowers. Identifying what your superpower is so crucial to your path. It's so vital to you understanding who you are and where you should be able to put as much effort in to be able to excel. Now, my superpower is connecting and facilitating relationships, making sure that people come together. And it's normally because of my awareness, being able to see in a very high level of where people are not connected at, and that's normally the reason why some things aren't working. So it's almost like if we have a gap, if these two people come together, the gap can easily be filled because they can pour in enough to that gap to make sure that everybody survives. And so I believe that's more so than anything where I differentiate and I'm different from everybody else. It's no room that I've ever been in to where I felt alone. I always feel like I know someone in the room. My team and my campaign, they say, you got to stop going places by yourself. My people go be in the room with girls. I don't care where I step.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people.
I'm hesitant. I'm scared to go to too many places because I might come across another campaign's event and just be stopping by because my people are in there. This season, I'm not interested in being the best one thing in society. I want to be the best I can be. I want to be the best John Barlow that I can possibly be. I don't want to compare myself to anybody else. I don't want, see, when you know you're different, you thank God that you're different and you keep it moving.
Yeah.
I don't have time to do the whole I'm better than you, stick your chest out, because that's the problem with leadership right now. It's still a popularity high school game. I don't have time. You can't play high school games when you're dealing with people's lives.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
So that's kind of where I'm at like that. And then I think the other difference is that I learned from my grandfather. And my grandfather, indirectly, by being the pastor of the church that I grew up in, by being someone that I could touch, but I couldn't get inside his mind, because he always had to share him. I always had to share him with the rest of the church. Yeah, the rest of the congregation. Until his latter years, I couldn't really get inside his mind to really get what I might have wanted from, to get the edge. It's funny because he showed me no type of nepotism.
Right.
like he did. I complain to my mom and my dad sometimes that he ain't give me nothing. I say it very frivolously because I think the name alone is good enough. His name opens up so many doors for me to be able to walk into. So I never say he didn't give me anything. But when I look at friends that got big inheritances, or I see friends now who still have their grandfathers or fathers around that's able to easily say, well, come walk into this job or come take this contract. I sometimes think like, where was mine at, right? But I believe that he showed me one important thing. And that most important thing was know people, meet them where they are. Family. Even though we don't have the biggest of families, family allows you to see the village. If you understand what this family is dealing with, what that family is dealing with, if you can see who's successful in this family and see who's successful in this family and why they interact and what they deal with on a normal basis, understanding all those profiles and nuances of who that leader is. Because I believe we're all leaders. I believe that family is one of the most important things for individuals nowadays to reflect on and to identify with, and to be able to find out who that is for them. Who's their family? And it goes back to the team. You have team in business, but you have team in your personal life. And that team in your personal life consists of family, extended family, friends, and things of that nature. And that's what's most important. I think building that family and that team atmosphere around anybody is so definitely important.
Yeah, I wanted to add to that too, because if you think about it, we talk about social media a lot, and like, so now you wake up in the morning, scroll, this person in the band, this person in the band, trip, vacation. You would think, oh, this person's living their life, but no, it's just a snapshot. It's not their real life. It's just a snapshot. So, like with family, I think a lot of times we're so caught up in social media and everything looking perfect that we've kind of turned ourselves into small islands, and where the family and the community is separated because everybody has their own island. And then you're displaying it on social media, but it's not a true depiction of the full story.
And I think to add to that too, and I could be wrong, but I think you're pursuing that imaginary success that you see on social media, which causes you to isolate yourself from your family because now you become so internalized with your own perception of, I got to catch up to this person and I got to get the same love that they have. And it's not attainable because what you're looking at is a facade and as a whole. And we do have to get back to that. I think that's absolutely true. Also, just to say this, because I felt this in my spirit while you were talking, it sounds to me like your grandfather left you breadcrumbs because he knew you were going to deduce and figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to say the ones that you said who have this legacy handed to them and the door open for them. He said, no, I know he's going to figure out how to get through that door himself. That'll give you the competitive edge in every situation.
You know what? I don't have any children and never been married. But I love me some treasure hunting movies and some things that those mystery films that you got to figure it out. When you're going through things a lot yourself, you don't realize what you're going through. I think your example and your analogy is definitely spot on. I don't fault anything that I haven't. I don't fault anybody for anything I haven't received. But exactly what you said, him giving me at least some insight, but then leaving it for me to figure out and for me to go get. It's probably one of the best things that he could have done. It's funny because I went to him and asked him, could I preach? And this is a story I really don't share with too many people. I went to ask him that I felt it was I was being called to preach at that time. And what he did for me wasn't what he did for all the other ministers that came through. And I felt like I was getting the nepotism, I was getting the help, but I really wasn't, because I was looking around, I was like, hold on, why? But what did they do? Like, why did they not have to go through this and stuff like that? So he definitely made it harder. You know, anytime you gotta struggle, you know, you gonna get what you built for. You know what I mean?
When you ask God for something, he doesn't give you. So we use cake as an example. Ask God for cake, he doesn't give you the cake, he gives you the ingredients. The purpose of it is to build that journey, not build the journey, but give you that journey because it's something you're supposed to learn along the way. So once the cake is there, you appreciate it. You won't just squander it. There's a lot of work that went into it. So I think everything you just said, that was actually brilliant. Like, I think it was, I know what you mean, because you kind of just felt like, man, you know, this will be, but him not making it easy for you made you work twice as hard to achieve it.
Yeah.
So here you are now, and you have, to me, like I said, that gives you a competitive edge over pretty much anybody else that had it just handed to him.
And I think back to your original question, Vito, is I know he was a visionary. And I think one of the main things that separates me from a lot of the potential competition out there during this election cycle is the fact that I'm a visionary, I have a plan, and I did not get anything handed to me. I had to work for every last. I had to work for every last. Sorry about that. I had to work for every last thing that I ever received, and ultimately being able to. That's what Detroit represents. It represents hustle. It's like, I think we were talking earlier. I think we simply said, like, if you in Detroit and you can't go figure out how to make $20, we got to have a conversation. I'm thinking you might have drifted from Toledo or something. Like, and no, shout out to all my Toledo, shout out to my Toledo people. Yeah. I'll be down there before the year's out. Hopefully Detroit give me a small break to get away. But man, like, so I think that's what Detroit represents, and that's why I love Detroit. I love Detroit more than anything in this world right now, because I'm feeling it from when I ran for city council 15 years ago. I saw the potential. I saw the vision. Now we're at the time to actually implement it.
Yeah.
The ability to turn this into the place that we all dreamed of. I'm not going to sit by while just time has stolen our dreams. I think we were some of the biggest dreamers coming up in Detroit.
Oh, for sure.
That time started ticking so quick, we lost track of it, and now we're looking up saying, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. Like, hold on. I'm the one that was just saying, you know, that's OG, or that's Unc right there. I'm Unc now. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't just sit here and let any more time pass without making sure the next generation has the spaces that we came up in, when we could go to the park, or when we can at least we was all pulling our rims out on a garage and playing and making a full court in the street. You know what I mean? You can't even do that with the speed bumps now.
That's one thing. Okay, what are we gonna do about that?
You'll bust your behind on the speed bump. And that's not to say that they're bad. I'm just saying
like,
times are different.
Every 5 feet apart, I feel like I'm in a Dr. Dre video.
But you know why though? Know why?
Yeah, them boys be flying down the street.
Don't care.
Yeah. And we got to be more conscious of kids, public safety. I think there's a thing called smart design for neighborhoods. That's kind of in my plan that I'll be rolling out for the public to see with the campaign. But safe and smart design for our neighborhoods is so important for not only public safety, but for economic development, for revenue coming back into the city. I believe ultimately that bringing the most investments, jobs, and homes into the city is one of the most critical things that we can do. But tying all this together needs a place to return to at all times. And when they return, they can't feel depressed, defeated, hopeless, or underwater. They're supposed to be charging up. We go home and get more depressed.
You get reason. I don't know if we want to get into the reasons. 5 times that is,
but I mean, whether it's trauma, whether it's mental health, whether it's economics, whatever it might be, it's just not always fun going back home. I truly believe that getting new family spaces and making sure every Detroiter has a home is so important. Somewhere where they can call home. And a lot of people going to their house and it ain't home. So how can we make that home? You know what I mean? How can a mom, a lady in her 60s or 70s who's taking care of her mom, go home and be a caregiver, but still feel like they're at home? It's so much that goes into that, but it means that we're meeting that 60-year-old lady where she is, because she should be retiring, but she's taking up a job that society should be supporting her in.
Like you can never stop working.
It's a never-ending job.
Yeah, people that are retired about something, that you go give me a job. It's like they've been working for 40, 50 years. Now it's like they gotta get a job.
And I think that adds to the Detroit hustle mindset too. You know what I mean? The grind of having more than one job, because this isn't cutting it right here. Even though this is like your 9 to 5, this is your bread and butter, but for whatever reason, it's not cutting it. So now you got to hustle and get this job. But the part that you said about the city, which I do agree yesterday as I was walking through, I had a great time last night too, by the way. Shout out to the city of Detroit, because I love it. It was. And I think what I love about it now, like you said, is now is the time, because we have so many things to do just in downtown alone. The Hudson's building is I can't wait to see what that's going to look like.
Right.
We have a Savage Fenty store, Gucci store. We have all these businesses now. Really, to me, does seem like the time to strike and stimulate that economy. But we want to make sure that we get it to, like the lady who works this job, or we want to get that working class stimulation, because I feel like that is really going to be what boosts the economy. I stand by that. I don't know, how people feel about it, but to me, the working class is the driving force. We are the battery that runs these cities, every city.
True.
And if you stimulate the working class properly, we're not saying you don't have to make them rich. You don't have to make them millionaires, but you give them the kind of money that they have, where if prices for eggs go up, they have the money to pay for it. The price of gas go up, they got the ability to pay for it. And it's not a big thing. And like you said, and I was going to say this too, I'm sorry, because I'm rambling.
No, you're good.
But when we live in the Midwest, we are vitamin D deficient during the winter months. Right. So that adds to that depression. So anything we experience that's depressing is double in our city, in our part of this nation, because we are just vitamin D deficient. So if our team loses in the Super Bowl in the winter months, we are super depressed, naturally, because of how the weather is already, and then because we just suffered that loss. So I think to get into that mental health aspect, what you're proposing, what it sounds like, is we attack these issues where, one, we try to get the economy set up. We have the means to get it done, and we do what we can to stimulate this mental health. So during this time, while she goes and she works this job, she's coming home to a place where she can have peace of mind, because she makes decent money. Her family's happy. There's things that can keep her going. If that's what
I'm saying, we have to wrap our arms around everybody clinically.
Yeah.
I said it on Fox 2 the other day that I'm a winner. I only like to win. Right. But when I get ready to win, I can't win big unless I win small. Yeah. You got to build up. And for us not to deal with each family minimally, clinically, then we're missing a step. That's how we got some falling through the cracks now.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
we're not dealing with each family clinically. Now that family could be 1, it could be 10, it could be 20. But can we talk to that family, and can we identify, acknowledge them, and make sure that they know that they feel supported and that they can return to it? It doesn't happen. There's a number of things that I'm proposing. The other candidates are going to bite. I'm only going to mention them one time, say I did it, say I said it, and if they bite, so be it. But this is what needs to happen. When it comes to home, and when it comes to family, we have to understand trauma and how to reverse the trend of trauma. Because if you look at if you're going to deal with economics, that's one thing. But if you're going to deal with the mental and the holistic approach and the health and wellness of the family, that's something totally different, right? But these are the overlapping areas that take place. Trauma, you have everything from PTSD to slavery to child molestation and child abuse to everything that could possibly have went wrong in your life, to a car accident, can create some type of trauma. That trauma is psychological and starts to become biological. In order to reverse that, you first have to deal with what is the psychological concerns and issues, right? Then you also have to look at what are the biological issues now, because that trauma psychologically has done certain things to create behaviors.
True.
Eating candy all day, drinking all day,
Right.
whatever it might be all day.
Scary movies.
Scary, not exercising, not going nowhere all day, right? And so how do you look at what the biological issues are and the health issues are and the mental issues, and then say these are the psychological treatments and pathways that you need to take? But then now, what is the nutritional and what is the health regimens that you need to pick up in order to rectify? That's the process that we have to look at, but we have to know who the experts are in that area.
Yeah.
The experts are in our backyard, but our leaders aren't talking like that.
Yeah.
That's what has everybody saying that I can't get out of my problem. There's no way out. There's no pathway. We're lost. We ain't gonna never figure it out. Forget it. Let's all go home and go to sleep. Let's drink it. Let's have another nightcap and let's wake up and do it again tomorrow. No, we got to cut that out, man.
Right.
We definitely got to cut that out.
Break the cycle. And I'm actually glad that you went into, we touched on economics. What do you think is a good plan to bring business into Detroit? So obviously there's more business downtown now than it was years ago. What would be your vision of bringing in more small businesses, more business downtown, but not just downtown? Because a lot of times they're only focusing on downtown. What about Gratiot? What about East 7 Mile? What about coming out of downtown? What's your vision for businesses coming actually into the city, not just in this one central area?
Let's start here. Downtown got built because it has 3 billionaires investing in downtown.
That's true.
Now, when somebody tells me in Rosedale Park, Palmer Park, East English Village, Indian Village, or Corktown, or Southwest Detroit, or anywhere else in Detroit where there's some billionaires sitting at, then we can have that conversation. What are we talking about? Are we really saying that we didn't do any, get this, we feel we're not entitled to anybody investing in us?
Right.
That's number one. And number two, we have a responsibility to invest in ourselves. Yeah. So the question becomes, what are the vehicles that are going to get us to there so that we can actually meet someone at the table and say, listen, we need a little help. So I cringe when I hear the conversation. They're not investing in the communities. Well, you ain't ready. And you ain't did nothing. And you ain't brought nobody to the table with you. Now all of that considered, the city has a responsibility to hold the hand of everybody who's trying to make impact, do business, and do everything else that can bring a positive change. Right. So the city needs to, if I'm elected mayor, which, if you all vote for me, hopefully that takes place. Y'all too, right? Don't leave y'all out. The city has a responsibility to say, listen, business owner. Matter of fact, before we get to the business owner, listen, home on the corner. You own this home on the corner. Have you looked at the fact that you're connected to a major thoroughway? Have you looked at the fact that we could potentially looking at this as a business district, similar to how the congregation took a home off of Rosa Parks and the church turned it into a pizza spot and a whole full-blown bar across from a park? They just took the value of that community and that corner up probably 5 to 10 fold. But it's just about vision. See, again, we've had our dreams and our visions
Man, yeah.
pulled away from us. We played Monopoly growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all Etch-a-Sketch. Like
Right.
we Shoots and Ladders. Like you put all the games together and you got the city, and then you build from there. But go ahead, because I want y'all to get your question. Because
you touching on some things. So my question, I guess, I would ask you is: do you believe that the current 9-to-5 system, coupled with the current educational system, kind of stifle some people's visions for things of that sort, because you get into the routine of getting up every day, going to do this job, making ends meet and surviving. You don't really see the whole scope of what you could do. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like, in other words, you get caught in the grind and the routine of doing what you have to do just to survive. That's what I see in the city, like in the scenario you described. So that woman, she's like, I got a house paid for, so now I can save my money for the things that I want, but not coming with that vision. Like you just said, you realize that your house is this, property's worth this. If we invest and get this business going, it can be worth this. But in her mind, it's like, well, I don't see that because I've been saving for years to keep this house. Now I don't have to make a house payment. So now she's focusing on the money going into her pocket rather than where it could go. I'm sorry if these questions.
No. I'm about to answer it for you. It's funny how you describe the story because you never told me about a financial advisor anywhere in there.
Okay, I had that.
We've been telling ourselves that we're the smartest on financial literacy, and we ain't never played at the level that other communities and cultures have played at.
Because they work together and we don't work. We refuse to work together. They put all their money together. Our money is.
Get this. We play a Monopoly. We all got houses and they buying hotels. We just figured out how to get a house.
Yeah.
And they got hotels, utilities, and railroads. What are we doing?
They on Boardwalk and Park Place.
But now, but to add to that, though, I would say this too: the other communities do get a bit of a leg up, though, from the government. The American government will work with them. I think our culture's the only one that kind of we had to grind for ours.
Well, let me break it down. We get lost in now and we really don't prepare and plan for anything, let alone the future. Yeah. Let's just be real about it. We're terrible planners. We don't plan to die and everybody go do it. Right? And so we have to check ourselves because of that. And we have to say, listen, what are we really as a whole trying to achieve? And ultimately, are we going to be able to achieve that by time the clock runs out? And it's not so much run out on our lives, but run out on the opportunity. We have to be able to really put a time and a clock and what the opportunity timeline is for being able to achieve something. And if it's not achievable, then we need to stop going after it. And so to your point, we're currently living in a digital age, but we're operating in an industrial society. And so if we have churches that are operating still in that industrial society and haven't totally tuned in and understood what it takes to operate in and to do business in this digital age, then they're not going to be able to cut it. Right? I say right now, people don't understand what the new apprenticeship track is. The new apprenticeship track isn't necessarily going to run and do work up under someone. It's to create a brand and a community so that you can sell yourself as either a thought leader, an engager, or someone who at least can get the pulse of the community. That's the new internship, because at the end of the day, let me ask you this. If we make enough robots in the next 50 years,
yikes,
to make more robots. If we got robots making robots, what are you for?
And that is
if they're doing all the work,
and we're watching it right in front of us, and we're not doing anything about it. We're just looking at it like, wow, we were talking about this a few months ago. If you're watching a video where they've got a robot dancing and you're laughing at it, if that robot can dance, that robot can serve your food to you.
It's restaurants that do it.
Yeah. If that robot can dance, that robot can drive that car.
Your children, he can walk your dog. He can basically fill your space completely.
Yeah. And he never gets tired. The robot never gets tired. It never needs a day off. It never gets sick.
Yeah. So what job do you plan on doing when I got a robot that can make a robot to do exactly? I got a robot to make a robot to do whatever I wanted to do that you thought you was doing. What happens to money then? Now we're talking about the wealth gap spreading like this, but we're going to be there in the next 50 to 100 years.
Yeah. We are. Easily. We are.
We're going to be there. And so the question becomes, what does society start to look like? If there's no time to deal with someone who doesn't understand the future. And that's the only reason I ran back from traveling all over the world, trying to just enjoy life, because I'm saying to myself, everything that God told me when I was young about how we're going to be living like the Jetsons, or we're going to be living like Star Wars in some type of facet. Those things are happening right this very second. And get this, the fact that we're not investing in that happening is totally shocking and beyond me, to the point that I don't even know where to start to tell people how to catch up. All I can do is say, listen, we're behind. Stop everything that you're doing. I'm shooting a flare gun, waving the flag. Stop everything you're doing. Let's all get on the same page. Because if not,
This is
chalk it up
Yeah.
for everybody and everything that we really care about. Because the majority of us are disadvantaged, marginalized, and disenfranchised.
True. I think we talked about, I know we spoke about the influence of like grandparents, and it's something that's uniquely special about your grandparents because they have a way of like you say, putting down those breadcrumbs. And this is going to lead to the next question I have for you. I think the thing that's unique about your grandparents are they have the autonomy to not, because your parent has to be very, cause you know what I'm saying, but the grandparent has already done it. They can be a little bit more chill, and they have the time. Because your parent is working and like, you got to do this because I got to go to work. But the grandparents has a little bit more leisure to kind of, and your grandparents maybe won't give you something directly. They'll give you a breadcrumb. So for example, you know, my grandpa in Oklahoma, you know what I'm saying, which is why I'm always 20 miles outside.
Tulsa, right?
Obviously a cowboy. We all know that. Well, I remember in the summer, so I used to go there every summer and spend time with my grandpa. And we would go there every day. I mean, hamburgers, fries. That's my favorite thing is to get hamburger, fries. I'm eating candy. He buying me whatever. So one day, I was like, well, Grandpa, where we going for lunch today? He's like, we're going to go somewhere different. So he puts me in the car and we go to a homeless shelter. And I was like, what we doing here? He never said nothing. We went there. We got the tray. We sat down and we ate with the homeless. Drove him. He never said why he did it. It wasn't until I was a grown man. I was like,
Yeah.
he wanted to show me everybody don't live like this. Everybody's not blessed enough to have a grandparent to buy you hamburgers, fries, and candy every day, all day long and popping. So to sit there and to see us in the room with homeless people eating with them and listening to like their story without him saying anything to me, he taught me a lesson that I got as a grown man.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
With no word.
With no words.
With no word.
So my question for you is, what was your inspiration to seek to get on this trail to say, okay, I want to lead Detroit in this era? What was your inspiration that gave you the drive to say, I want to do this?
Yeah. So again, it goes back to legacy. I sit in a very, very peculiar intersection of legacy. My mother's mother, Odalia, she grew up with Rosa Parks. She's been featured in the Detroit Free Press, of course, while Rosa Parks and her were living up here, in which she was a busboy dispatcher. We know, I mean, I have a copy of her registration card and everything. My father's father, he, again, is the pastor that pastored up here after in the 60s and 70s.
Wow.
And so I have this Montgomery coming down my mom's side, then this Detroit, Alabama Rudy grandfather who I've learned a little bit more about him recently, in which I knew he had worked for Avis and knew the owner of Avis, but I never knew that he was a Pinkerton. I didn't know they had Pinkertons. Or I think that's what they call the old police officers, kind of like the civil cops type of things that they might have had back in the day. But so that's where I kind of get both parts. And then my mom was very active with the school board. I did a number of different jobs around the city. So for me, it's always been there. It started before I was born. And so to grow up in watching my grandfather and my mother as leaders, and then never being someone who was afraid to talk to anybody and afraid to get to know anybody. I just have a strong sense of wanting to do for people what they can do for themselves and where others people should. Yeah, I just have a passion for people, and more importantly, I love Detroit. I really love Detroit. I want the best for its people, all my friends and all the families that are represented, that ultimately we're happy in Detroit, but we're not ecstatic. We're not jumping out of our seats like woohoo. Hey, nobody cheers us on. When like my publicists and my PR people are saying, you know, don't you say Detroit versus everybody anymore. Because I made a comment in another podcast, but whatever.
Are we not supposed to say it anymore?
No. I'm not supposed to say it because people might misperceive what I'm saying.
Okay.
But the mentality of Detroit versus everybody is what we've experienced.
Yeah.
We've always been against everybody. Nobody has supported us. Right. Nobody has our back. That's why when we go on the other side of town or the side of the country, when we hear what up though, it's like, oh, yeah, somebody got my back. I ain't in here by myself. Yeah. So but it's when we feel like we're all alone that it possibly handicaps us from being more outreaching, more loving, more things like that. So we just have to play the balance. You know, we have to balance out how it is that we greet people, welcome people, talk to people, and tell our story to everybody else as an inviting story. We can't tell our story like, hey, you ain't us. Right. That ain't gonna make them come. Yeah. So I think it's my background in branding, my great legislative experience. I try to bring millions of dollars here. When I started changing laws back in 2017, I put 2 initiatives on the ballot, both passed. Me and you, Detroit, we passed 2 laws in 2017. But one of the laws were fought by the city and they were not honored by our legislative board, which could have brought millions of dollars in for African Americans and other minorities, as well as the market. And then from 2018 to 2022, they had to twiddle their fingers and twiddle their thumbs to make sure that we had another emerging market actually put into place and positioned properly so that the whole city can benefit from excise taxes and everything else. And we lost probably millions of dollars then. So looking at millions of dollars go out the door, us complaining that we ain't gonna have no money, and then looking at the decisions on what got us to that place, and then understanding that I can't really sit and sleep with people being mistreated and us still losing. I'm a winner. I can't be here if we're not winning. Right. And so that's the only reason I'm staying put. I'm not gonna fly to Vegas, Miami, Houston, or DC, or Atlanta, which I love Vegas with passion. Come on, Vito, we'll be on the plane tomorrow. Could be. But I'm about to dedicate my life to sitting right here to making sure that we get out the mental rut that we're in. We are definitely in a rut. We're in a mental rut. So, that's interesting because aside from my other business, I'm also an avid, I guess some would say an artist or something. Let me ask you another question that the people are dying to know. Who your barber? You're crazy. Not once you find that great barber, I'm glad you said that.
That is so real.
You know what's interesting now, because you're gonna have a very busy schedule. So sometimes you maybe can't get to your barber. Oh no. You know who you can always get to. Me. So some people, okay, because now Rodney and Bruce, they know that I'm an avid barber. Now Barlow is here, people. What? You know what? Things are on the show. I mean, here, the people, hold on, like, now y'all know I'm an avid barber. You crispy, but I feel like your schedule gonna be so hectic. Now I might have to slide through. You're gonna have to like make time, and like a lot of times you maybe can't get to your barber. You got to come see me. So let's get a schedule together. Because we here now, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause you crispy. But I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, you wake up in the morning, you get a little 5 o'clock, you got to holler at me, bro. You know what? I almost I thought I was running late because I went back in the house to shave because. You shaved today? Yeah, I shaved today. You got more research than shaved you. Shave, right? Man, come here, dog. Grab Barlow, bro. Bring him over here. Listen, cut your hair on the show.
I can't just grab this man, bro.
Next time.
Security in the back, dude. I can't.
You know what? I'll try to stay in character. But Vito will bring the most lightest side of you out. Like, you can never expect. I wanted to come on because I never know where me and Vito's conversations will go. It's not about the normal parts. It's about the part that you never expected to come. And bro, you bring so much joy into so many people's lives, man. Do not stop being you. I appreciate it. And I'm glad you said that because now I want to bring a haircut into yours. Just sit down. Do it. I gotta shave. Bro, we can't do no more holes in your. Let me get the beard. They about to try to save you. They got money flying up. Man, no, man, where did y'all get these guns from?
That's the money gun for the show when something get wild. You
Man.
gotta start shooting. Hey!
This how much money we gonna bring to the city. If I'm the mayor, we gonna bring this much money to the city. All right, we out. It's time for us to have a leader that brings some fun and brings smiles.
That's what's been missing.
I think we've been serious for a good amount of time because we had so much serious stuff that we were dealing with in the city. So I'm ready to bring some fun when elected and get this, win, lose, or draw. My goal is to make sure that Detroiters start to smile regardless. And I think we can continue to do that.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
Brother, listen, we appreciate you, man, coming on the Resurgence. If you do need your haircut,
I will come. I will call you first thing.
First thing.
No. You right down the street. I will definitely come.
Now y'all heard that. And y'all heard that, right? Barbering, just shaving.
Well, let me say this last thing because we're closing out, right?
We closing.
Okay, so let me say this last thing.
Okay.
March 19th, Detroit People's Food Co-op. It probably would have already passed by the time this aired, but we would have most definitely had our big announcement. One of my godbrothers, Keith Stevens. Funny story. I gotta give you the story before I leave.
Go ahead, cook.
Keith Stevens, shout out to Keith. We were at a Baptist convention for a church, and the young people sing in this annual concert. And I chose to let Keith cut me up and cut my hair before the concert.
Okay. And was he a barber?
Keith was still learning. And Keith wasn't nothing but 2 years older than me. So please believe this haircut wasn't around always. He gave me one of the worst Timmys that I could have ever asked for. But thanks be to God that one of our chaperones, the lady's name is Ghost, and Lord bless her and her family. She got me halfway together, but I still made it home. I was the laughing stock of the convention, at least amongst our church. But so I know about bad haircuts. So you can't do no worse than him. And if you mess up too bad, I'm gonna run right over there to my barber and get fixed. But this last thing I'll say: investments, jobs, and homes. Investments, jobs, and homes. If we don't have a leader and a mayor that can bring enough investments and money into the city, then they're not going to be able to provide the best jobs and the most homes for every family. But most of all, they're not going to be able to turn a profit on that investment to give you the best city services. That's what I bring to the table. I'm a businessman. I'm a winner. And I think y'all want a winner. So let's win, Detroit.
Y'all heard that? Did you hear that? Let's go.
So
you about to cook?
I thought we had questions. I really think we should just because we got him here. You want to do some questions? Should we do questions? It's up to you, bro.
We had a couple of questions, but we had so many other. I thought we had like 20 questions from the previous show, plus the questions from this show. It was so much, and
let's get him one or two.
You want
to do? Yeah, he need to see these.
I think my barber took all the power from the left. I think it did for real. I think it really did. I think it did.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it did. The laptop is just, I don't know. It's topped out. Y'all see that?
Man.
You gotta come back. When can we get you back on the night? I know
let's do something. We're gonna come back. Let's come back closer to my birthday. We'll come back first week of July, 4th of July weekend. We come back 4th of July weekend. We'll do it like
we might just film at the party.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll come back around there. I think that'll be a good time for us to come back and say one more thing to the Resurgence community before the August 4th election. August 5th, my bad. August 5th election. So
I'm gonna tell you what I want. I'm gonna want.
We still taping?
Yeah, we still going.
Okay.
I'm gonna want Vote Barlow t-shirts.
Okay. What's that, a 4X?
Let me get the Suge 4X. I'm gonna need that.
I do an X.
Yeah. I'm gonna need a large, but soon I'm gonna be in that 3. But I need a Lincoln Navigator. We talked about that earlier. Take your time. Take your time.
Y'all keep that in because I want y'all to know Vito is not getting no Navigator if I'm a Lincoln.
I'm getting the Navigator, baby. Making it right. Brother Barlow, so glad and blessed to have you come to the Resurgence today. This has been huge. It's been an amazing time. We look forward to you coming back.
Yeah.
Right before your birthday.
Yeah.
Speaking of birthdays, somebody's birthday is this upcoming Thursday. The time will be had. He still has not told us what his birthday plans are.
Yeah, it's still in the works, man. You know.
His birthday is the day before my mother's birthday, which is on Friday.
Yeah.
I already know what her plans are because I'm putting the plans together. But I don't know what his plans are. Isn't it
But
weird?
you will know. But you will know.
How you talk to somebody every day and don't know what their birthday plan? But see, this is that weird Gotham thing where they just mystically do stuff. It's interesting to me.
What do Gotham?
It's
What do
very-
Gotham people do?
Just be on rooftops and just fighting crime at the wee hours of night, and it's a time to be had.
Well,
So
there's no telephone booths in Gotham.
there are
So,
telephone booths in Gotham.
we don't really have a news. We don't have a news. What do we call it?
A mild-mannered reporter. Oh, knows that I'm a mild-mannered reporter as well.
Exactly.
As well as barber, as well as cattle rustler.
Some of us ain't aliens. Some of us were born here on the planet. You know what I mean?
It happens. It's a thing.
Super strength, all that stuff.
All that jazz. Let me ask before we get out of here, J. Barlow, what are we gonna do about cattle in Michigan? Yeah, like cows. Like, so I work. A lot of people don't know this, but I work in the cattle industry here. So I do a lot of like cattle rustling, wrangling, roping cattle, herding. What can we do to increase the cattle? Because
why is he looking at me?
Because I'm a real life cowboy. So now they're gonna laugh, but they know I'm a real life cowboy. Yeah, a real life cattle rustler.
So, are we still recording?
Yeah.
Yes.
I had to make sure. Because I was about to respond a different way. I haven't seen any cows in Detroit.
No, right.
So
you gotta come out.
Can you say that part one more?
I haven't seen it. Have y'all seen some cows in Detroit?
I have.
Maybe.
Where are these cows at?
So my ranch is about 20 miles up north. That's where I work at my ranch.
Bro, is that Detroit?
Well, technically, kind of, yeah. It's just right outside.
Right outside. Okay, Metro Detroit. I believe we're one region anyway.
Okay.
So we got cows in the region in Metro Detroit. I need to know about them, right?
True, you do.
I want to really know about them. I truly believe that I don't know nothing about cows in Michigan.
I'm glad
I don't even know why they in Michigan right now. Are they supposed to be in Michigan? I'm just playing. This is all jokes. I got a joke. Everything that we said on here, was serious, but
right.
we got our jokes. So if y'all hold this against me,
we're not.
No, not y'all. I'm talking about just in case, Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7, right. Detroit News and Detroit Free Press, go find this interview. So I'm telling them now, if y'all hold me to being with my brother Vito on this podcast, then just know I'm gonna probably rescind half and dig on half the stuff I said. But no, on a serious note, what are you doing? Are you breeding them so that you can produce beef?
I'm glad that you asked that question. So what I do is I herd cattle. So I may have like anywhere from 200 to 300 cattle coming in from Tulsa all the way to Detroit. And normally my day consists of I get up about 5 a.m. We have breakfast.
Is he serious?
Biscuits. Yeah, that's what we do. Biscuits, cattle, and we herd, cattle in the morning. So a lot of people don't know this, but ranches are working like 5 a.m. We busy.
So this is what I always know to be true.
Okay.
I always know Vito to have half truths and have lies. Half of this story is very true, and half of it is probably not. So whatever part is true, tell me when the cows are around. I'll come check it out for myself.
I'm gonna call.
Now, ultimately though, if we're talking about beef and cattle in terms of food security, I mean everything needs to be looked at in food security here. So if we got some cows around and they fresh and they helping the food security out, cool, man. But you ain't about to get me messed up on the front page of the news. He don't know what to do with cattle in Metro Detroit. No. But this was good, man. Thank y'all for real for having me. This is the best laugh that you can have on a Sunday period, man.
Man, you'd be upset if these questions wasn't on today, bro. You thought you was laughing now.
Yeah. Nah. I should have watched the show before. I should have known the questions.
Because we want to thank y'all for coming out. We want to give a huge support and shout out to our brother John Barlow.
Man,
vote for this man. The resurgence is voting for this man.
Absolutely.
Let's go. It's going down. I'm gonna have it on a t-shirt. You know what I'm talking about?
Word.
Russ.
Man, y'all keep on supporting Resurgence and these two brothers right here, these three brothers. And I know they got a lot more people on their team, but man, keep on doing y'all thing. I mean, great things starting with few minds at the table. And I only want to see the best for y'all. So let me know what to do. And y'all better support them. If y'all don't, go vote for somebody else then.
Yeah, I appreciate
win
that.
the election, bro.
Yeah.
Win the election, vote for John Barlow, bro.
Vote for John Barlow.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
y'all for coming out. We appreciate y'all. It's been real. Gather yourselves.
Peace.
Peace.